The only time you'll ever see me drink water on stream, probably.
This is my first time drinking not LaCroix on this stream, and maybe any stream ever. I was out of LaCroix, so I picked up this Waterloo grapefruit flavor. And you know what? Not to cheat on LaCroix, but Waterloo, if you want to sponsor it, whoever sponsors us first, I'm going to put you guys against each other. I'm in.
I'd like water to sponsor us first.
Oh my gosh. If we get that H2O.
Yeah, the ocean.
Oh.
Hey, at the ocean, have you ever thought about sponsoring us?
So many hydrogen bonds out there.
We can bond with them.
I was gonna say the nice thing about the hydrogen bonds is they're guaranteed future investment income. You know. We'll start on a really low joke. So anything anyone does after.
I will show you. I know I posted a picture on my story on Instagram.
Yeah.
But I will show you my orange dice that I got. They're beautiful. They're so good. From Root Beer on Instagram.
I'm so excited.
Move my dice pouch aside here.
Zarker's excited. Hello, Tim. Hello, everybody. As
Hello.
You guys are filtering in, we're seeing some orange dice right now.
They have teeth and oranges inside. Hard to see with the light.
Yeah, I was gonna say the front light.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Here, let me try turning this off.
Let's give it a test.
Oh, now I'm just very dark.
Ooh. Oh, there you go.
There we go. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
The ones on all of them are just orange slices.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun.
I want to see the D8. That's one of my favorites. Oh, I love it.
Move this way. There we go.
Man, that makes me want to roll a 1 though.
Right? These orange dice are just so beautiful.
Oh, I love it.
It's real good. I'm very pleased.
Yeah. And then
might leave my desk lamp off.
You probably want to put it back on. I know it's creating that mismatch, but because of the light behind you, I know it'll adjust. You'll be a ghost for a little while.
The backlight.
Right. I always try to just get mine cut out, because if I start putting it in, then it starts to.
I mean, I have my desk lamp pointed at the wall behind my desk instead of directly on me, because if I point it at me, then it's gonna, be
I know.
big drama. So
great. Yeah, always, if you can diffuse it, do it. I've got Zarko down here. Zarko's playing with my mail-in voter registration. Which I have on the floor because that will make me do it. Whenever I put something on the floor, it's if I put it on my desk, it's a toss-up whether it gets done or not. But if I put it on the floor, I'm like, God, I got to get this off the floor. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to do this.
So. For Hillsborough County, it's super easy to do it online. So I did that in 2 minutes this morning.
Yeah, while people are trickling in, this is a really good time for us to say, hey, if you can, I know you guys will probably know a lot more about Florida. I know in Virginia, legally you're supposed to have a requirement to be able to mail in vote, but for COVID, your requirement can be your requirement can be that there is a international pandemic and you feel more comfortable mailing in and voting. So you can register online, jump on, do it, register to vote. It's a really great thing to do. And check out all of the city council for Richmond. So if you're in Richmond, all of the city council are up for re-election. So check out what they stand for and who's running in your district. And please, please, please vote.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure for Florida, you can just register to vote by mail. You don't have to have any requirement, and I don't think you ever did before. They actually were really smart back in 2016. The Florida Democratic Party was at MetroCon, getting con-goers to register to vote by mail because they're like, you guys are, terrified of people in public, except at conventions. Vote by mail. So
I love that.
I've been voting by mail for the last 4 or 5 years. 4 years, I guess.
Yep.
So
awesome.
It's so nice to just stand in your kitchen and you can Google the names on the ballot and educate yourself as you fill it in, and then you just put it in the mail and you're done.
Huzzah!
Huzzah!
Everybody, we've got a big election coming up, so be sure to register, be sure to vote, rock that boat, rock that vote, etc., etc. So, now that we've given some time, people have trickled in. I've gotten the notifications. I should drop something in Discord real quick, which I will do, but I want to, high level, say that hopefully Vi is going to be joining us. I know that they're doing a photo shoot right now for a CR character. Help me on.
I'm
as lost as you are. I don't go there.
I only know as a professional dungeon master, I really should know more about CR than I do.
Nah.
Right. Well, I mean, I should. But I know the early stuff fairly well, but I can never make the streams, and I'll, try.
It's such a time commitment, and
it's a lot.
And there are other things about it, but
they do some stuff really well. They do some stuff not as great, but they crush what they do, and I'm really happy to have them in our community because they're a big part of why I can do what I do. So that's really awesome. So hopefully Vi drops in. Currently, Ben, we kicked out for this week. We were like, Ben, take a vacation. Your
just
character
get out of Florida.
It's
difficult to work with.
It's his birthday.
Yeah. So happy birthday.
That's the excuse we gave the stream.
Get the heck out of here. So Ben won't be joining us, but that's why we're going to do a quick intermission stream. Last time, right here, Growling Goblin Studios, we did a stream, Vi and I, talking about character creation, how to create a compelling character, what do you even do? And the answer to that was something that we will rehash, but at a big picture, try to find some details. And I think one of the key things that Vi said that I really, really loved and gravitated towards is like, don't try to plan everything out. Make sure you give your character space for growth. You're only level 1, so being a retired general who has already lived your full life and then expecting to grow from level 1 to 20 with that character can be really difficult to find the space to do. So you don't have to plan everything. In fact, plan just enough to allow yourself to grow through the game. There's a few things where I go out of my way to figure out some way to record in order to watch, such as every now and again, I depending on what's going on in like CR World and other things, I'm always impressed with the fandoms and the way that people are finding ways to watch and engage and interact with shows that are at like weird hours of the day and things like that. Like I'm a big MotoGP fan. I don't know if I've ever told you guys this. My father was a motorcycle racer. So, yeah, it's not something I talk about a lot because it doesn't really come up in conversation. When I was younger, when I was a wee tyke, I used to, tell people my dad could beat up your dad because he's a professional motorcycle racer. Zarko's joining us. Zarko, everyone. Zarko.
There she is. That's why Geen won't come to me. She's jealous. So they have, apparently Geen and Zarko have been in communication about how you can only have one cat on stream.
Right. It makes sense. And right next to Zarko is my new Cats and Catacombs cat figurines for D&D. Yeah. Yes. They're super great. And then I've got my cat superhero. And I'm wearing my cat dad shirt. I'm still on brand.
Full cat today.
At the Dungeon Meowster. So, yeah, I'm a big MotoGP fan, so there's times like tomorrow's a race in Brno, which is at 8 a.m., which isn't too bad. Whenever they're racing in Europe, it's not too bad. It's like 7 a.m., 8 a.m. races. But they race a lot in the Pacific sphere, Eurasia and things like that, or Australasia and that areas. And those are always like 2 a.m. races. And I'm not going to be up at 2 a.m., but I'm glad that the community always finds ways.
We had a guy for teacher pre-planning this week training us on Google Classroom, and the guy doing the Google Classroom training was living in Tokyo.
Oh yeah.
So it's like
midnight.
Yeah, we're sitting there and we're like, how much coffee are you on right now? You're training us on Google Classroom in the middle of the night.
That's so good. I love that the whole audience is going to be able to watch Zarko murder me live on stream. Yeah, we're going to be talking about performance. And one of the things we're going to do, we're going to go through a little bit of how, like, our own experiences, our own best practices, things that help us to perform, not only as players, but also as DMs. So whichever one's going to be helpful to you. And the last thing is I'm going to run our group through some improv exercises and kind of talk about why they are maybe not necessarily important, but at least helpful, and how you can bring those to your groups. Could be fun. Could be exciting. Yeah. You can do it with us. There it goes. Zarko woke me up this morning by sneezing in my face.
Face delightful.
Right here. Yeah. If you guys have any questions or any comments or anything, please, we're going to be a little bit more tuned into chat than we would while we're really trying to perform. So please just message them in and engage with us. We love it. And we've got a few announcements here at the top that we're going to go through. But before we get into that, I think we have confidently been on here just long enough to where the early comers are already in here. We're going to introduce ourselves, let you know where to find us, anything that we're excited about. And we're also going to do an improv exercise, which is I want you to, if you, your fourth is if you tell the audience how you want them to clap for you. So if you said, I want the audience to clap for me like a seal trying to balance a ball on its nose, you can kind of like... Right? Does it sound like a good plan?
Perfect.
Okay, we're gonna start with you, Kim.
All right. Yeah. Hi, I'm Kim. Sanji's Closet on Instagram, where I post mostly cosplay things, lots of process things, working on some educational things, but the pre-planning for the school year is eating a lot of my time right now. So some of these things are not going as fast as I had initially intended. You typically would see me playing Ernj, the fanged deserter, in our games. And I suppose I would like you to clap for me like a bunch of hipsters at a poetry reading in well, I guess it wouldn't be Greenwich Village anymore because that's gotten too fancy. Unless we're talking Greenwich Village in like the 60s, just
I think we are, yeah.
Yeah, kind of raise your chin, squint, it's, yeah.
I've been working on my double snap.
Ooh.
Right.
I used to be a lot better at that than I am now.
I'm not that coordinated.
Osborne.
Oh my gosh, I just did it. I learned a new thing. I didn't even know a double snap was a thing.
There we are. I love it. Early.
And that's it for me for the stream.
New talent acquired. Call it a day.
Bye.
I have one more thing because it's not often. I know that one thing that you and I are talking about right now is mental health in the community. So
yeah,
one thing that I want to do, I want to add to our list. So Oz, I'm going to put the burden on us, but I'm going to let Kim be the the guinea pig of it. Is where are you at in emotionally, mentally, in just a quick moment of like radical honesty and emotional engagement with people? So where are you at? We usually are performing, but now we're actually just ourselves.
I'm gonna say right now, overwhelmed. You know, it's I am a teacher in a system that is against us right now. So pretty overwhelmed between prepping my classroom to potentially see students. Hillsborough County School Board did vote to start the first 4 weeks fully virtual. But since I teach at a charter, the charter school board still has to make their own decision. And what they have to weigh is that the executive order in Florida from DeSantis did say that schools that do not fully open will have their funding taken away. So that's pretty terrifying that it's either my safety or my paycheck. So kind of like prepping my classroom for social distancing with students, trying to prep lessons, not knowing how it's going to look. And then, I was telling you guys before we came on stream about some pretty intense mental health first aid training that we went through this week. 8 hours of it on Thursday. That was a lot. So overwhelmed. Yeah. This is my little bright spot right now.
Thank you for checking in with us and with the audience and that radical honesty, and also for audience and you guys for not only providing a bright spot for Kim, but for I think I can probably speak for Oz and Zarko scratching herself in the background, all of us. So Oz.
Hi everyone, I'm Oz. I'm at the Viking Cosplay on Instagram and Twitter. I am an artist and photographer. All of my portfolio and commissions info can be found at theviking.myportfolio.com. I've been, loving getting back into digital art some more. I've been loving the few FaceTime photo shoots that I've done. They're such a great opportunity. It's been a ton of fun doing that, opening up my commissions, trying to throw my hat into that ring. I want everyone to clap for me in eighth note triplets.
It's been too long.
And, moment of just blanket honesty. I'm sure I'm hanging in there. I'm doing my best. It's stressful. I have been a freelance lighting technician in film, television, live entertainment for the past 4 years, and that industry has just disappeared with all of COVID. Having that rug completely pulled out from under me is terrifying. And towards the end of my career in that field, I was a bartender, which is also not a safe place to be. So I've been stressed, I've been worried, I've been trying so hard to get my name out there for commissions for any sort of icon, character design, D&D character, FaceTime photo shoots. Hasn't gone tremendously well, but what can you do? And but any D&D game I run or I play is always such a highlight. I love this Mörk campaign, my Pacific Island campaign that I run. Just it kind of gives me structure and brings me happiness to do all of that.
Heck yeah. Thank you. Last and maybe least, because I hold you guys in such high regard. My name's Alon. I am forgetting all of the things that I established that we were supposed to go through. You can find me at the Dungeon Meowster on Instagram. I am part of Goblins and Growlers, the inclusive community building tabletop space here in Richmond, Virginia. Got some exciting things going on, which we will talk about, which is exciting. Oh, you tried to post a link.
I did. I forgot that I can't do that here.
Yeah, you can type in. I think you can type in dot for people to figure it out or put it in
bracket
yeah.
dot.
Yeah. What were the things I was going through? Way I want my clapping. If you could clap as if you are a really engaging book that is being closed by Zarg. Hi Zarg. Yeah, just everybody, just if you could, just for me. That's all I want. My kind of like emotional where I'm at check-in is in this moment I'm pretty overwhelmed. So I am, besides being a professional dungeon master, which has been really amazing, I've had some pretty cool opportunities, especially with this group, to raise money for charity through kind of like the whole COVID thing. I also do marketing. I got laid off. I was in an industry similar to Oz that did not do super great with the whole COVID thing. So I've been doing freelance. I am in this moment pretty overwhelmed because I've got a lot of projects, but I'm also super thankful because I have a lot of projects that all of a sudden. So I'm very grateful that that's kind of landed my way. One of the reasons I wanted to have this emotional check-in, one is because it's important. I think especially adults in our age bracket and above don't have not like normalized kind of being emotionally vulnerable with each other, even friends. So that's always important to kind of like create that safe, tangible connection and make people understand that that's humans are emotional and having emotions is okay and communicating them is like a great thing to do and not just like a good or a fine thing to do. But we have tons of words for communicating and it's really important to kind of, especially through all this, like keep everybody on the same level. The other thing that I think is really important about it is we're going to be talking about performance, specifically in your tabletop games and in D&D. But on a grander scale, I think it's also important to know that where you are, your emotional state is always going to affect your ability to engage and perform. And especially during these last few months of a global pandemic, which affects everyone in different ways, but it does affect everyone. Everyone's kind of in different places. And I think it is important to keep that, especially in mind when we talk about performing and we talk about entertaining others and we talk about how you put yourself in a space where you can do that, in a safe space that you can do that. So I did want to kind of have that quick check-in, and because it's not always easy, but if there's one thing that you've already heard from Kim and Oz, and will hear from me, is that performing for this live stream and for anything that I do is always like the brightest spot of my day. So I'm really happy that I take the time to kind of set myself up to perform and do this stuff, because it means so much to me. Whenever I'm in a game or whenever I'm DMing and I'm around friends or clients or whoever, it's just such an amazing, like, almost, it's probably like cliche, but like almost out of body experience of just like something being bigger than me and bigger than like the individual collectives gathered, which always like is amazing. So,
and on a related note, yes, huge shout out to Alon and the other folks at Goblins and Growlers for agreeing to do a dungeon writing project with my sophomores this year. I think that we're going to be able to give that bright spot to a lot of students, which is going to be amazing, and potentially introduce a lot of kids to D&D where they might not have sought it out before. But since their teacher is going to be like, it's for a grade, then they have to like, and you will have fun. Fun is on the rubric. So, but like, that's going to be really amazing. And the fact that you guys are partnering with us is really incredible. I was telling some of my coworkers about it the last couple weeks, and a lot of them were like, "Oh, we're gonna skip our classes and come sit in on yours." So
Yeah, we hope to create some material to where with leveraging your expertise and your experience, so that we can create something that like is helpful to more than just you and the teachers in your immediate sphere, but hopefully because you're going to help us to create something that's not just like cool and D&D related, but also educational and measurable. It's going to be super great. I hope that a bunch of classrooms kind of grab onto it.
Yeah, I mean, using the dungeons that the kids create, but also I happily share the once I finish them.
Yeah.
Share the lesson plan write-ups. So then if other teachers want to do this project in their classroom, they can. So I think that'd be really awesome too.
Huzzah. Right before we jump into kind of our main programming here of being in character, how to do it, why to do it, when to do it, we're also going to do some quick announcements. These are super exciting things. One, most importantly, Borg not happening next week. 2, reason why is because we are going to be part of Queen City Anime Con. You can hear all the cheers.
Yay!
What do you think, Zarko? So we're going to be part of Queen City Anime Con's programming. They're putting all of their calendar stuff together right now. You can follow them at QCAC and etc. on Facebook, Instagram, all that jazz. I know for sure that we will have a Friday, I believe at 4 panel where we're talking about how to run your D&D games, how to run your role-playing tabletop RPG games online during COVID, probably from inception through how to make it fun and engaged and how to make it consistent, since that's always the hardest part about D&D games. So we're going to be doing that. I know they have a panel on gender and cosplay that they're going to be doing. That's going to be part of the schedule. I'm going to be DMing a game with a couple of voice actors that are guesting for QCAC. And also with the con director. You can see I've got pit stains just thinking about it. So we're all really excited to be a part of that. Another thing is for our future streams for Mörk Borg, we're going to be reducing them to 2 hours in length for a number of reasons. We're hoping that we can be even better performers, especially after we have this like little workshop of telling you how to be better performers. We're hoping we can apply all of those things and catch up to the reason why Vi and Ben aren't here is because they're on another level and we need to catch them. So we're doing that. And then let me see. I have notes. What was our other announcement?
We were going to talk about some donation incentives. We haven't really done any of that since the cicada giveaway.
Right. So as you guys probably know, we run our Mörk Borg streams in the hopes of, and through your generosity and your viewership and everything, we raise money for different nonprofit causes that we have been very fortunate to support and who are doing some really amazing stuff at a time when it's really needed in our communities. So we're going to have more donation incentives. I know one of the things that I talked about early on is record giveaways, and I've just kind of not been able to we've the last few streams Tim has been our only donor, and Tim is in Sweden, so already all my records are Swedish, so he's like, I could just get that without for cheaper shipping. So I want to find ways that we can, whether that is volunteering Oz to draw something for you because I have that unilateral power, or whether that is some of the, I don't know, maybe some of the cool things that we have, like we have a button maker for Goblins and Growlers and a bunch of original art from our artists. we are trying to figure out the best way to not only I don't want to say donation incentives, but more like donation rewards. Just reward you guys for the amazing support that you give, not only to us and allowing us this little platform that we get to have as a huge bright spot in our day, but also to the nonprofits who are doing super cool things out there. During the course of Borg, I believe we've raised over like $4,000, something insane.
We've raised a ton of money through this.
Yeah, something insane. And we've had donations from all over, not just Virginia, Florida, and Sweden, but we also had donations from like New York. We had California. We had Georgia.
We had Canada in there
Canada.
as well.
So that's international at this point. We've got 3 countries that feels like I can say international.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, and sometimes I consider Florida another country too. So
it feels like it.
Yeah,
it certainly feels like it.
So please go follow the Borg Twitter @DiseaseSave and say, hey, this would be a cool reward that you guys are kind of already doing, working on stuff like that. That would inspire me. Or maybe even like just help us. We want to give you things because we're just very happy for the support. So collaborate with us on that.
I need to get back in touch with the wonderful people from Printing the Curve Flat because for the first several weeks of the stream, we were donating a lot to that incredible cause. And one of the creators of that organization, after I informed him how much money we raised, he said, just send me an STL file of your minis and I'll print them for you for free. And I think that would be a pretty fun donation giveaway. Would
Heck
be
yeah.
a mini of Ernge or Scrum the Bastard or Gilbert or
oh my gosh,
Storm,
yes.
right? So I just need to get in touch with him and with everyone else in the group, of course, and just see if they want to send.
We need to make our STL files.
Yeah.
We can do that through Hero Forge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like what, $4 to get just the STL file without it
something
printed?
like that.
It's something super cheap.
On that note, Hero Forge is pretty cool too. So just as our audience, if you're ever looking to, even if you just want to get an idea, a visual idea of the character you're building, it can be a really great tool to use. Not just
I love it.
Models, but yeah.
I've used it before to create characters for one shots where I literally had no clue what character I was even going to do.
Mm-hmm.
I just went into Hero Forge and I was like, this race looks interesting, and then just start playing around, and then was like, so I have this character, and then rolled stats for it. That's how I ended up with a fawn bard that could like parkour up the sides of mountains. For a one shot that Oz did for my family. So it's a lot of fun. Hero Forge is awesome.
Heck yeah. Yeah. And that speaks to something that we've already talked to, which is character creation.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
And Tim has a good point about import declaration.
Yeah. Yeah.
For shipping things. Yeah.
Which is why, if you have anything you want drawn, digital files.
That's sweet, sweet digital content.
Yeah, I saw Oz. You did a Darkest Dungeon painting recently.
Yeah, I just finished that up yesterday. I've been playing a ton of Darkest Dungeon again. Actually, since that first stream I joined you on to announce the show, that kind of got me back into it. So I've been playing a ton of Darkest Dungeon and just fell in love with it all over again. And I spent like the last 4 days making a giant digital painting of it, which is on my website, theviking.myportfolio.com. And just been learning Photoshop as a drawing tool.
I'm so glad. It looks so heckin' cool. I have always felt like every picture you do, you can see your growth in each one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Oz, speaking of Queen City Anime Con, that's going to be next week, Friday and Saturday. Oz is jumping on to one of our regular, if you're a Growling Goblins Twitch stream regular, you know that once a month we usually do Dungeons and Doodles with our amazing professional artists that we employ here locally, from Feral Fox, which is Liz and Sharon. So Liz is for sure doing a Dungeons and Doodles for QCAC. Every time, I keep pausing because I keep like trying to hold down the belches from the sparkling water and not just do it right into the microphone. But Oz is going to be joining Liz for a Dungeons and Doodles interactive panel for QCAC. There's been not enough, in my opinion, which is not, a high opinion, but it's definitely an opinion. Not enough interactive panels for the digital convention, so I'm excited for us to try to like create new ones. We actually wanted to do a build your own adventure panel, but we couldn't quite figure out how to do that with the tools that they had. But come and engage with us, create those interactive panels. Speaking of interactive content in general, we're going to start talking about how you've already created your character. You went to Hero Forge, you built it out, you found something that looked funny, you're like, heck yeah. You created a backstory, whether you did it in epic prose because you're ridiculous, or whether you did it through just looking at something really angsty and then changing the name. It doesn't matter. All super valid, super good. You've came up with your character. How now, Brown Cow, are you going to play that character? Are you going to get into that character?
So real quick, Alon, just to interrupt and go back to the donation incentives. Because you are secretly the ventriloquist puppeting my puppet body, what is a good donation price for a digital piece for me?
It's probably like no lower than $20.
Yeah.
I like to say, because I know you well enough, that it's $21.
Ooh.
Because that way, you know that those dollars are able to buy alcohol, which can then.
We need that of age money.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Not quite that old money, but.
No, as long as it just needs to be able to join us at the bar.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, yeah. Need that vertical ID money.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. So that's what I would say. What do you think? Does that feel right?
Yeah, minimum dono of $21, and then just shoot me a message on Twitter and get a drawing from me.
And let me make this clear. Check out that link, theviking.myportfolio.com. I know that Oz's rates are up there. So if you want like some super cool art and you're like, it would truly be cool if I had my character who I've been kind of working on for my campaign, if I had a little bit of original art for it. Check out his rates, donate the amount that you would want as far as art goes, and then hit this man up. I'm volunteering his time. This is how I do all of my...
I'm here for it. And of course, any donation that you make to this stream and for artwork from me through this stream goes directly to charity. Anything that you commission me for through my socials or email goes towards me. So.
So yeah,
getting back to characters.
Yeah, we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk a little bit about character engagement and performance. So why I'm most excited that we have the three people we have here. One is because Oz and I very regularly DM, so we get to talk about character performance from two different aspects. Two is Kim's character Ernj is one of the most compelling characters and character performances of any campaign that I've ever run, and I've run thousands. I could probably say tens of thousands, I think is where I'm at now.
That's very kind of you. I didn't realize Ernj was so excellent.
I just am so happy.
Ernj.
It's not the
He's Ernj-cellent.
Not the first character that I've ever run who only says one word. It's the second. And then you have to think about I've probably DM'd over 1 million characters. I'm somewhere stupid like that because of just the number of games I ran pre-COVID times a year for Goblins and Growlers. So that's super unique. To say that there's only one other one, In this one, I think this one, their character background was something like they had so much trauma that they had basically their vocab had been reduced to one word, and part of their character's journey was trying to heal themselves enough to say one more word.
Wow.
Yeah, so yeah, very, very heavy. But yeah, I Orange is one of the best characters. So what I want to open up with as self-appointed moderator, which is the best type, is what do you do? What are your practices? What are your rituals? What are your drills to help you get into character? If you have the ideal time, space, etc. before stream, what do you do? And we can start with you, Kim.
So, and I'm not much of an actor or performer. Closest I get is cosplay. And I am, we all know in cosplay you're not always in character. And you have to be careful with who you're in character with at conventions. Strangers don't always take well to it. I know I've irritated some Zoro cosplayers in the past when I was younger and didn't understand those boundaries, and would say things as a Sanji cosplayer that were maybe not so nice. They'd get it eventually, but it was awkward at first. Young regrets, if you will. So getting into character for D&D, I really tend to approach it more like a writer than like an actor. Most of my background with characterization is with writing. I've been writing for fun for a very long time. Wrote my first novel, heavy quotes, because it's like a notebook, but wrote my first novel in middle school. Never published, but nonetheless. So really, for me, staying in character in a game is very much like writing from that character's point of view. And I've had a great interest for a long time in how you choose your words when you're narrating from a character's point of view when you write. So because different characters speak differently. And kind of approaching playing my character from that perspective, getting in their head and the decision making, even those spontaneous things like adopting a pigeon. Yeah. So that's basically it. It's very much a writer's kind of a thing. My voice is, this is where for Orange it was so perfect because I don't have to come up with a character voice beyond just Orange, It really, that helps a lot. But kind of, writing the scenarios in my head or writing along with the game in my head, in order to affect what the character does, their actions. And
is there anything you do pre-stream or pre-performance of any of your tabletop characters or cosplay characters that helps you to get into the headspace?
I'm a daydreamer, so I'll daydream scenarios a lot, especially if I'm heavily involved in it. Sometimes I'll sketch things. I've been struggling to sketch Orange because he is not in my comfort zone for drawing. But I also, one of the online communities that I first got most involved in as a young person, and even started a forum for it when I was in high school, is roleplay. Like via text, where you're basically, you pick a character and you role play that character in text form with someone else, and you're just writing back and forth these scenarios. And I'll do that if I have time and if there's someone else that has time to role play with me, particularly if a campaign is on a break and I want to keep that connection to the character that I've been playing, I'll find someone and be like, oh, there's a 2-year time gap between when my character left home and when they met their party. Let's RP that 2-year gap and create some history together.
I am going to repeat something you said because I think it's awesome and key takeaway for anybody watching this stream. You will always have games, always. It's just kind of inevitability, unless you're really lucky, that have some breaks in them. One of the hardest things as a podcaster, we do every 2 weeks for the Quid Pro roll stream. I play a character named Johannes. We record. We try to record 2 episodes so that we're keeping up with everything. Sometimes 3 if we can. But every now and again, we've gotten problems where haven't recorded for even as long as a month, which is horrible for staying into character, because that month rolls around, you can't remember what was going on, you don't remember the name of anybody who wasn't a main, it's horrible. What Kim just said, which is to get onto text, go be a late 80s, early 90s kid, get onto all of our amazing tools that we have today, and just do some text role play to stay in character, to stay in the world, to give yourself the right headspace, is awesome. That's hyper valuable stuff.
I have a whole Discord channel with a good friend of mine that's literally for the first D&D character that I ever created, in a campaign with Oz and some of his close friends that they let me in on, that we had long breaks, and I have a deep attachment to Pavo. He's my baby. He's my first character. And really went through, and my friend had never played D&D before, and rolled up a character for them and filled in that time with some writing and really exploring. It gave me the opportunity to explore Pavo's character in a way that she's so good, in ways that I wouldn't have been able to in game. Since oftentimes, games, you're dealing with the other characters, and the DM might not be prioritizing the story of your character compared to others at the moment. Totally fine. But that kind of filled that need for me. We're all a little bit egocentric. We're all a little bit vain. We want our characters to have the spotlight. So doing that was helpful, and just when we came back and played again, helped me to play my character better.
Yeah.
Because I knew him better than otherwise.
That's awesome advice. The other thing that's really, really good for is if you have a DM who is like me, and maybe like Oz, you might be the same in this regard, who can't say no to more players, which is a problem. Hopefully one that your DM realizes and is able to.
I've gotten better about it. I used to be awful.
And you end up with large games. This is another really great opportunity to use that to not only give yourself the time with your character to better play your character, but also so you can get the time that you would like and should have to spotlight your character and really flesh out some of those growth moments that maybe you don't necessarily get in game.
And it's that opportunity to feel a little bit special.
Yeah.
And to get a fresh perspective on the world that you're playing in. That's what I kind of enjoyed about having friends that weren't in the campaign. I did 3 different RPs with Pavo with 3 different friends, and it was finally the 3rd friend that actually stuck with it for more than a week.
Yeah.
Which is fine. People are busy. It's totally fine. But it is that
one of the coolest things
we crave attention,
Yeah, one of the coolest things you can do with this is exactly like you said, do it with people who aren't necessarily in your campaign.
Yeah.
Do it with other tabletop players who have their own characters who they want to do this for, and have a unique space for you all to kind of be fleshing out your characters in a
And
space away
it's
from your game.
wild the things that you can come up with for character exploration, because it really does become almost like fan fiction of the game that you're playing.
Yeah.
And coming up with AUs for like alternate universes for your D&D character that's played in a very specific campaign. Pava was created for the Yoon Suin setting, which is like D&D Asia. But we ended up with like 3 or 4 different other universes that we were writing in, just to explore the characters and have fun. So it was really cool.
So I keep looking around. Zarko, usually before the stream, I'm smart and I feed her before the stream so she doesn't get into what she's doing now, which is into my trash, and she's attacking papers and stuff and trying to get me to notice her so I can feed her. So I'm going to go and feed my cat. Usually something I do before a stream, and I'm smart. I totally blanked on this one. But while I'm doing that, Oz, you're a DM. You're a DM for multiple games. What do you do to get into character? And for anyone who hasn't been a DM, DM is very much a character. Not only because you play however many characters you decide you want to create into your world, but also the DM itself, which some people make fun of it being like a godlike figure against the players. The more ideal version of it is it's a collaborative figure that's helping the players to tell their story. But in doing that, you kind of are putting like your story, which some DMs put a little bit too high in the importance level, on the same tier as your player story, if not a little lower, to facilitate their playing and also your playing. Oz, all that said, I run a lot of panels on like how to DM, so that's a whole nother deal. But all that said, what do you do to set yourself up to be in the performance state, in the mindful state of being a DM and facilitating your players? I'm gonna mute me so I can turn you louder so I can hear you while I go downstairs to feed my cat.
All right. So of course, as a DM, you're wearing so many different hats of many different characters. You're trying to tell your own story. You're trying to help in the story of your players, and the setting and the world that you've built is a character in and of itself. Anyone who has ever played a character in a campaign that I've run, they know that I give them a list of like checkpoints to go through in their character creation and their backstory of immediate goals, midterm goals, long-term goals, their fears, their dreams, their inclinations towards things, and if they've ever killed anyone before. I have a very similar checklist that I go through with my NPCs in my game, my non-player characters. So when I have deliberately made a character and it's not just randomly rolling for a character, I will write down this checklist for the character of what are their goals, what are their intentions with the characters, how do they react to magic, to horrors, to the supernatural, to violence, murder, blood. How do they react to see the characters if they've met them before? What do they need or want from the characters? And just these open-ended questions that allow me to know how to respond in character. Like take for example, Ernge or Gorm. These very odd, very eccentric characters. Ernge being this massive, like slab of meat with messed up teeth that can only say Ernge, or Gorm, this intimidatingly beautiful man that eats dust and has split personalities. How does a character respond to them? Are they used to these kinds of things? Are they used to living in a world where these people exist? Are they going to be frightened by the interactions with these characters? And other things like that. I have an experience and a background in acting and voice acting, or rather screen acting and voice acting. And it's a very similar thing of in a scene where your character's motivations might not be clear. You generally ask someone, the writer or the director, like, why is my character doing this? What's some background? How would they react to the situation? And whether I'm playing a character or DMing a character, it's very much the same. You never know what the players are going to do to throw a new situation at you as a DM. And you have to think about what a player would do or what a character would do. Would they be afraid to go on this long journey? Or would they be gun ho and be like, yeah, just give me a sec, I'm going to grab my sword? And that's just generally the prep that I go through with other characters of just like, how do they react to any situation that might be thrown at them? Welcome back, Alon.
Thank you. I turned you way up, but I still had a little bit of trouble hearing you. If you don't mind being a little closer to your mic.
Yeah, I can certainly do that.
Yeah, one of the things that you were talking about that I was dying laughing right when I got back, not at you, but at Tim's comment, because I'm wearing my best cat dad ever shirt. It has Zarko on it, and I didn't even forgot to feed my cat beforehand. So one of the things you touched on, which goes back to something that I'm going to talk to on my turn as we spotlight around, which is an improv practice called radical listening. And you were talking about how you're engaged with your players so that you can react to what they bring to the table and what they're doing, which touches on that improv radical listening. There is a lot of studies that show that most people, when they're listening to you, they're not actually listening to you so much as they're thinking about what they're going to respond with, what they're going to say. I get caught on this all the time. As I've become more mindful of it as I've gotten older, I also have been able to catch myself doing this, whether by default or etc. So I try to really actively practice radical listening, which is exactly what Oz is talking about, which is a really great DM best practice of hearing what your characters that you're DMing are doing, and then reacting genuinely in that moment to their stimuli, what they're giving you, what they brought to the table. What is some things that you do pregame that kind of set you up for success as a...
I think back on what the players did in the last session and where they are probably going in the upcoming session. It lets me just kind of get an idea of what the NPCs that they've met will do, what the players are going to do, how to build on their stories and my own story. And like I mentioned, the environment and the setting is a character in and of itself. So depending on where they're going, what kind of things are they going to see? Who are they going to meet and interact with? What events have happened outside of the characters inside this world that might impact them? And so usually these are things that I think about right after a game session, but going into a session, I just review my notes, see like what is potentially up and coming and how the NPCs will react to that, or what characters they're going to meet, and then I go through that same checklist of fleshing them out a little bit.
Yeah, and that prepares you for your performance as the DM. Is there anything either of you, Kim Oz, do to put your mind in a performative state? And I mean more so as like, is there anything that you do to be entertainers? And I'm going to give you examples of what I do in case you guys have any rituals, etc. Of course, as a vegetarian, the first thing I do is I sacrifice some celery on the altar, let the juices drip down to the vegetarian gods. And then one thing I do is I always, almost before every one of our streams and any one of my podcasts and anything I do, I always do some sort of vocal exercise because I've always found myself more comfortable with me as a performer, as well as like I feel like I'm engage people better if I very consciously am projecting what I do. So I always do some type of vocal warm up. The one that I've been really all about lately is the one of like trying to hum while you whistle, which forces your vocal cords to like push air out. Yeah, so it's like the, and I try to do little scales with it. I go like,
Okay.
and I fail, but that's also really good because I force myself to go outside my comfort zone and to fail at a thing because I can't do it. And that's actually maybe even one that like nobody can do. Who knows? But
you guys are gifted hum whistlers.
A lot of
Pisslers?
A lot of practice.
Mums? No. Wums?
Like mums.
Wum whistling?
Well,
Wum
you know
whistling.
they say mum's the word, so.
The other, thank you.
You're welcome.
Theremin impression too. Perfect. Yeah, and so I always try to do some vocal warm up. Honestly, if you just Google vocal warm ups, there's a million. There's a lot of really good ones. If you find anybody who is a certified vocal teacher, watch any of their YouTube stuff. There's somebody who I'm just blanking on their name, who I should say because I've watched a bunch of her videos. But the other thing that I do before any performance is I do some type of, I have an improv background, so I do some type of like make myself feel ridiculous exercise so that anything I do in game feels less ridiculous comparatively. So the goal with that is that you take the boundaries of what's comfortable and you push them out to here, so then they close out to here rather than back to where you started when you're performing. And it's something that I recommend to any D&D player, any RPG, tabletop RPG game player. But like I'll do the ones that I do that, like if I have very limited times, I'll do Shake It Out, which is where you do, you guys can do, you want to do this with me?
Okay.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Let's go.
You can stand up if you'd like. That's the easiest way to do this one. But there's no wrong way to do it. And people at home, if you guys would like to do this one's called Shake It Out. Basically what you're doing is you're just counting to 10 and you're shaking each limb of your body in a ridiculous way that many times as you're counting. So we're starting at 10 and then you go to 9 and then you go to 8. So it looks like this. I'm going to just give you a quick example. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it looks like that. We're going from 10. We're going to go down to 1. Here's your improv exercise.
So,
please do it at home.
For all of you at home, feel free to film yourself and send it to us on Twitter at DiseaseSafe. We'd love to see you joining us in improv skills.
Don't tell anyone around you what you're doing. Just stand up and start doing it.
Yeah. If you're at work for some reason, yeah.
Yeah. We'll start at 7, lucky number 7, and we'll work our way down from 7. So there's no wrong way to do it. However it makes you feel ridiculous, you're doing it right. So ready. 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1.
Oh my god. So I just figured out what I'm doing with my students before they have to present to the class.
It's so that's one of my favorites, especially when I have limited time. It takes what is ridiculous to you, it makes it here, so then when you're performing, things become more comfortable. They seem
Not
less
to mention,
ridiculous.
I feel like I just stretched some very stiff limbs pretty effectively.
That one is really good, and it's one that I love. Some other really nice improv exercises to do if you have to do it quietly because you're in a space that's quiet. I always like the one where it's called, I don't know if it's called this or if I just call it this, but it's called stretchy face. And it's just basically like taking your face and just going like.
Yeah, like Mario 64 style.
Yeah, exactly like that. Just like making it ridiculous. If you can do it in front of a mirror or a camera so you can feel really ridiculous while you do it, it's just another way to like expand, contract. So those are my rituals before I perform. Almost any time I ever do any live DM stuff or anything on Twitch, I do that beforehand, as crazy as that is. Or maybe not crazy. So do you guys have anything like that?
Well, I mean, you guys notice that most of the time I'm drinking not water on stream. I mean, really, like I mentioned before, I'm a daydreamer. So I'll usually, in bed in the morning beforehand or in the hours leading up to it, I'll try to divert my thoughts to
I know Morsabel's comment.
Yeah. I'm battling some mask knee from having to wear my mask so much the last 2 weeks at work. So I'm avoiding touching my face as best as I can.
I just because I just fed my cat a bunch of meat because that's what she eats. I literally just washed my hands and then
cat. So, but really kind of I don't, again, not an actor, so I never really been exposed to these improv things. I love the shaking out one. But absolutely like forcing my brain. Sometimes I don't even have to force it. But really making myself almost like a cinematic movie in my head, like really daydreaming out what happened before, where it could go, trying to pick up on any foreshadowing from the DM, things like that. So, Tim, are you asking about the students?
No, us washing our hands before touching.
Oh, us washing our hands before we touch our face.
I will say, Tim and Morsabel, I have realized that I will never not wear a mask when I'm out. And the reason being because I touch my face all the time. I cannot help it. I'm horrible about it. I'd like do this with my mustache by default.
Oh, God.
Just it's a natural movement for me. Anytime if I'm thinking, I'm like, let me think about that, and immediately have my hands up in my face if I'm out. So I have to wear the mask.
The mask keeps me from picking my nose in public, which is a problem. I mean, as you get into adulthood, you're better at making it like subtle, but like that is a thing that I do less now.
I hope so. With the mask, it'd be very difficult. You just slip underneath the mask.
Put
out nose holes just for that.
I also find that I don't have the urge as often since the inside of my nostrils are not drying out, since I'm breathing my humid mouth air instead of the dry world air.
I'm so good. Just piggyback off of you. I'm so good at brushing my teeth at night, but I'm not great at brushing my teeth in the morning, and I've become so much better.
Oh, I'm the opposite.
I have to wear a mask nowadays, so I don't have like trench breath in my mask. I remember to actually brush my teeth in the morning, which is really nice.
So
thank you for sharing in chat that your hand washing technique has lapsed. I'm glad. The radical honesty that we have right now is amazing.
Yeah.
Great, so.
This is honesty hour with the Gallows Kids. Before a game, especially in like a streaming situation like this, I tend to get nervous. And whenever I get nervous, I'm just chugging water. And I do that a lot anyway, and it helps my voice beforehand and everything. But I do this a lot even before, like back when I acted, I would do this all the time. I just, to help prepare my voice and just to calm my nerves, either just humming as I'm walking around. Kim knows that I'm always just like snapping or humming or drumming on something. Or even just singing helps me warm up my voice and just kind of calm my nerves. So a lot of times while I'm prepping D&D, I'll just be singing along to something or singing something that I know all the words to. And just like that structure, that something that I know and I do decently well, just kind of helps ground me and makes me less nervous to go into a situation like this. And then, of course, to help my nerves and because I can't focus on anything, I'm always fidgeting with something. I left my little fidget toy in the other room, so I've been spinning this pen and consequently dropping it nonstop today.
I want to use this as a quick jumping off point for everybody out there to the thing that I always harp on, which is there's no wrong way to do any of this. So if any of those feel like ways that they connect to you, whether it's the daydreaming, putting yourself in those scenarios, trying to move your character through hypotheticals so that you kind of are in the headspace where you can do it real time, whether that is a lot of prep work, creating kind of not just different scenarios that your players might go through, but also radical listening and trying to find your players where they're at, try to see what they're bringing to the table and take that and make that part of the world, or whether that is just going up there, making yourself really ridiculous beforehand so you can bring some level of ridiculous to it, to the performance. You kind of need a lot of any of that to make a fun game, not just like a fun performance like you're on Twitch or you're on a podcast or whatever, but a fun game with your friends and more fun with your friends. I'm gonna read Tim's comment in a second because I already know I'm gonna laugh while I'm reading it. We're gonna do a quick transition into kind of the last thing that I want to talk about. I'm thinking we're going to probably end. I can tell you probably read Tim's comment that I haven't read yet. We're gonna do a quick transition into. I'm going to talk specifically about some exercises that I do with our podcast group at Quid Pro Roll to help us to have a performance that we all not only are happy about because we're doing a podcast, but have fun with and continue to have fun with our game and with our campaign. And we're going to do them with each other. So there's going to be some improving. If you are comfortable with improving and you want to join in, I will drop the link to this Zoom screen. We are Twitch recording. Do not make me regret this. But if you would like to jump on and be ridiculous and do improv exercise with us, love to have you. Keep it PG-13. Don't make me regret it. That's all I care about. So I'll drop that link in just a second, and we'll do some fun exercises. Let me get over here, do the thing. I'm gonna read Tim's comment first.
So, Tim's comment about the garlic potato salad.
Yes.
The very first time that Oz and I ever kissed was right after which one of us had eaten an entire piece of garlic bread?
It was me.
Yeah.
It was on our first date, and I've just vored at this entire piece of garlic bread. And
very garlicky garlic bread.
What?
I want to make this real clear. That was also the last time they ever kissed. So
it's true.
Afterwards, Kim stopped talking to me.
Yeah.
Only speak in Zoom calls.
Yeah.
That's the true garlic barrier. If you would like to join us, I have dropped this Zoom link. You can join us. Don't make me regret it. Keep it PG-13. I'm very happy to have you guys. We're gonna go through some improv exercises that I make people do when we're doing performance stuff for the podcast specifically. Since I probably haven't name dropped it enough, Quid Pro Roll. Gotta do my marketing. And
if you guys love D&D,
we're gonna
and
do
wrestling.
it here in front of you. Hopefully, you can steal some of these and bring them to your home games. That's my hope with doing this. Is hopefully you can steal some of these, bring them to your home games, and I don't want to make promises I can't keep, but I'm fairly comfortable saying you will have more fun. You will have more fun with your games if you are setting yourself up like a performer, because you're going to change the parameters of what's acceptable performance. And the reason why this is important is the biggest fear. There's so many studies. I don't know if any of them are real or not, but there's so many studies saying that public speaking is people's biggest fear. Now, I don't know if right before they ask that question, they go up to the person and say, hey, can you publicly get on the stage and tell people your biggest fear? Or, who knows? But it's the biggest fear. So I think it's not unfair to extrapolate that even if it's with a group of your close friends, being ridiculous in a performance setting is very difficult to do. It can be really daunting. I know I had people always are always a little bit surprised when I tell them this, if they've seen me do DM games and things like that. But I really had problems with this when I was younger. I used to be bullied. I didn't really have any friends, and the thought of being vulnerable, not even like emotionally vulnerable like we were at the beginning of the stream, but vulnerable just even being another character and trying to like be a performer seemed so insane to me that I always was trying so hard to be cool. That was my goal as a especially D&D player. I was trying, and especially as a person as well, I guess. But I was trying so hard to be cool, and because of that, I was not cool. And there was times where I did not, as a performer, bring to the game the energy or the positivity or the performance or the fun that I now like really get out of Dungeons and Dragons. Now this is a bit of an extreme because you're looking at me when I was younger, who was a jabroni, to me now, who's a very different jabroni. So we're going to walk through these. Please, please, please do them at home. Do some of this at home, and yeah, if you like it, then bring it to your games. Try introducing them. You're gonna get pushback. It's really rare that I bring this to a group that hasn't done this stuff before, where I don't get some type of pushback from someone being like, this is a little too weird or outside my comfort zone. Big thing to always do is meet people where they're at and say, like, no worries. Let's find a way that makes it more comfortable and ease into it. Or, allow people always to be able to watch if you're comfortable and you're in a safe space where to have people watching. So I think I addressed all the things. Do you guys think of anything I need to add before we jump into stuff?
I don't know what you're doing.
Good,
so,
perfect.
No.
I'm going to force you guys to do some improv things with me.
Yeah.
Things that I've been doing. Now we've had to change our exercises because we're doing all of our games and our podcast recording over Zoom. So we've been doing some different Zoom exercises. So the one that I'm going to run you through right now is called, I think it's called the improv exercise is called like body mirror. But essentially what it is like face mirror. So we're doing it over Zoom. What's happening is if I am leading, I'm going to be the mirror, and I'm going to, or you guys are the mirror for me. Whatever I do, I'm going to be doing it very slow. I'm going to try to stay away from really complicated movements, but very slow, and you guys are going to follow me. Yeah, and you're going to try to completely mirror what I do. And we're just going to like do that. And then I will say somebody's name, and then you will become the mirror, and you're going to lead us through what you're doing. We're just going to go through all three of us, and hopefully people at home are also going to be mirroring what we do. Yeah, I hadn't started yet, but I'm glad that you guys are so excited to jump into that. So any questions? You guys have the gist? Cool. Body mirror. Let's do this. Oz. A little slower with your movements. Yeah.
Kim.
That's a good stopping point. And scene. So that is immediately after. I just realized immediately after I went like this. Because it's like feeling weird with my... So, there we go.
Okay, it comes from your own body. It's just
Right.
protein.
It's recycling.
Thank you for... so that one's body mirror. I've been trying to get our podcast to do that before every show because that one... why we do that in improv is because of radical listening. You are focusing so heavily on the other person and trying to listen to what their body's telling you. And I found that one's also a really good one for D&D. And so that's one that we always try to do. We always try to do scenes in our characters, which is one where if you have the ability to do like small scale, especially if somebody maybe is like running late or something, and you have the ability to do some small scale scene work with your characters, you have somebody who's not in the scene suggest a scene that you're in, and maybe an emotion you're feeling and something very specific, and you run through that. We're not going to do that. That one's hopefully pretty self-explanatory, but is a really great exercise for your tabletop games. The thing that I am going to have us do on our way out, and I'm going to once again invite anybody. You can jump into that link if you want to do this exercise with us. We're going to do a game that's very popular improv game called Alphabet, and this one is good because it, if done right, promotes radical listening again, listening to exactly what is being given to you by your scene partners, and then taking that and incorporating it into yourself. And it also requires you to be in that performance mindset of maybe now I'm blanking, which is like you always want to use that for what you're doing. Being in that performance mindset of creating a narrative with everyone else, knowing that it's not your narrative, but taking the aspects of what they give you and adding your own so that it builds something bigger than yourself, which is very much the, like, for me, the core of what is tabletop RPGs. So we're going to alphabet. What happens is you start your sentence with the next letter in the alphabet. We're going to start with the letter T. For me, I'm going to put this up on screen because it helps me out. I usually just put the alphabet up so I can remember what letter comes after each one. So, K, L. Oh, God. It's been so long. The one thing is T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Got it. The one thing is you are allowed to cheat on X. There's only so many Xanaxes, xylophones, X-rays in the world. So if you want to just cheat on X and do something, whatever you want, that's allowed. We're going to start on T. And if somebody in the audience could give me a very specific place, and we are going to create a sentence. Each of us is going to add a sentence, and we're going to create a story. So it's basically like building your own sentenced story. And our parameters, just to make it a little bit harder for us, is to go through the letters of the alphabet. Does that make sense to both of y'all?
Yeah, I think so.
So we start the sentence with the next letter in the alphabet.
Yeah.
From where you started your sentence.
Yeah, more specific. Beach, perfect, more specific. Where is this beach? What's the state of this beach? Is there anything particularly special about this beach? Yeah, so if I start my sentence with T, which I will do, then you are going to start your sentence with you. And then V, W, X, Y. We're going to hit all the hard letters early so we can really mess those up and people can see that failure is okay, and then we'll go into the other letters. If that sounds like a good plan. I'm waiting to hear from Morsebel if we have a more specific beach. Here we go. Sandbridge Beach. I know nothing if this is a specific one or not. You guys don't have to either. Just know it's named Sandbridge, probably for a reason. There's an older crowd, and it's windy. So I'm going to start, and I've got the letter T. Today, the Mörk group went to Sandbridge Beach, named so because of the giant bridge that once went to Europe from there that has collapsed into the sand.
Umbrellas could be seen blowing across the beach, lost very sadly by their owners in the strong lateral wind that was sweeping across the sand.
Vicious wind on that day blew.
Thank
I
you,
was
T.S.
trying to go
Eliot.
further, but
That was perfect. Yeah.
Gravity is the soul of wit.
Wet.
Would that the owners could be faster. They would easily be able to catch these very slow-moving umbrellas. But, unfortunately, all of them had forgotten their walkers and motorized scooters.
Xenophobic vendors simply watched the umbrellas blow by, not at all motivated to help the visitors that they did not want catch their lost umbrellas.
Yesterday, 4 weeks after our trip to the beach, my lost umbrella flew through my window. The wind was that strong.
Z. Zebra striped umbrella. Alon asked Oz, very surprised that that would be part of his aesthetic.
Alon held the umbrella aloft, his eyebrows raised. Questioning or judging, we can't be sure.
Because I could not stop for death, it seemed that he kindly returned my zebra-striped umbrella through all of the wind of 4 weeks past.
Coincidentally, he, however, did stop for every other person on that beach that day. A number of old folk, totaling the number of sands on the Sandbridge Beach, were never seen again.
Don't be too disheartened. Most of them went where they wanted to go, though some went where they deserved.
Every day I think about those people that went missing. And every day I hope that those xenophobic shop vendors are not found again.
Or not, can you say it one more time?
Are not found again.
For if they were, what would happen to them? Would they be traced back by the zebra umbrella print with ivory-handled umbrellas that they were toiling to move their vendor carts in front of old people and help escape that day?
Gone forever are those umbrellas. And their people. Except for the zebra-striped one.
Heart, my own, it is heavy for all those people that cannot find their umbrellas.
I, however, did find my umbrella because I am Oz, and I was able to outpace all of those old people. They were not hero fit enough, and as such, I held my umbrella aloft. A trophy, nay, a title, umbrella holder, Oz, king of Sandbridge Beach.
Joke's on them.
King? That is not a mighty enough title for Oz. I heard he is much better. Emperor of the entire land.
let's not stop there. Emperor? Pff, more like universal truth ruler of everything.
Monuments must be built. Mausoleums must be raised.
Nay, entire continents in his name shall be built.
Opposers to this say, how are we going to raise all of these mausoleums when we just added so many new bodies of old people who were at this beach?
Perhaps their ghosts will aid us in this endeavor.
Questioning the responsibility of ghosts? Of course they will aid in this endeavor. Ghosts and the living alike worship Oz where he stands.
Really? Because ghosts are such faithful servants to Lord Emperor Universal Ruler Oz, his real goal is to make all of us ghosts.
Silence now. The exercise is over.
To bring it full circle, thank you all for boosting my ego.
So that's
you can always count on us.
That's called Alphabet. That's a game that you can play in character, out of character, however you want to do it with your players and your party. I think it's a really great way to kind of get yourself in the mindset of not only radical thinking but also bringing something to the table and taking things from what other people bring to the table to create the bigger story. If you want to really challenge yourself, there's tons of variations on that, any number that you can think of. Some of the more famous ones are the last word that somebody uses is your first word. The last letter of the last word becomes the first letter of your word. Anything that forces you to think inside of a parameter, inside of a box, so that you can break out of it metaphorically during the exercise. So that's the things. That's the stuff. If you have questions for us on how to be in character, please drop them into chat, or alternatively, follow us at Disease Save on Twitter. Message it. It goes to Oz. Oz will answer really well. If it's a poor answer, then that means he probably texted it to me and I created an answer for it. Do that. The other thing that I would implore you all to do before we sign off is our two compatriots. Usually when you come to Mörk Borg, you're expecting to see 5 people, Mörken and Borgen, playing our campaign. Vi is not here, but please follow them at Vi Cosplay on Instagram. They're doing super
Violet Cosplay.
Violet Cosplay, thank you. On Instagram, they're doing super cool stuff, such as creating a panel on gender in cosplay for next week's Queen City Anime Con. Follow at Drunkle Ben, and I'm sure we're going to get some good updates on his vacation, on their vacation, the collective Bens. So please follow Drunkle Ben on Instagram. We're all going to give you guys our quick sign off. But once again, our updates for today. Next week, no Mörk Borg game, but we are doing a panel on digital tabletop gaming, how to make it happen, how to make it work. So if you're inspired by this panel and the panel I was lucky enough to do with Vi earlier about character creation, and now this one about being in character, now you can full circle that. And if you're looking for a game, you can look at my pit stains that I've created during our thing. If you're looking for a game, we're going to talk about how to not only start your own game in the digital space, but also keep it going, bring all those things together. That panel will be on Friday of Queen City Anime Con. They haven't quite gotten their schedule nailed down yet, but it's most likely going to be around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, if not a little bit later. And the other update is that our Mörk Borg streams are going to be condensed to 2 hours as we take all of these best practices on performing and apply them to our own game to try to make it a little bit more condensed and hopefully a little bit more condensed ridiculousness for you all. And we're going to continue to raise money for local and national charities. Thank you guys so much for supporting us. As we were talking about early, difficult time, I think, for everybody. But these instances, being able to have this collaborative community, even digitally, like any way that we can, and having you guys engage with us is the greatest. Like, we love it so much. It's such a huge highlight of my day, and I know we all talked about how it's a highlight to our days. So without further ado, if you guys want to just tell the people what you're doing, tell the people where to follow you at, and we're going to start with Kim.
I'm Kim, Sanji's Closet on Instagram, where I have been filling my quarantine with making all the big dream cosplays that I didn't have time to make before when I was con crunching. Goal is no con crunch in 2021. Won't happen. I will find a reason to con crunch. That's my drug of choice, is con crunch.
How's that not a cereal yet?
It's salted with the tears of all the cosplayers. So I like to post lots of process things. The educator in me goes really into detail in those process things. Also kind of listing some commissions and some little props and things to sell to kind of supplement that teacher income. Recently put up a Ko-Fi. If anyone wants to help an educator out, preparing for the school year, have things planned for my students, some of them involving goblins and growlers, whatever direction you are on the Twitch. Also some fun things for my anime club students coming up this year that I'm really excited about. And even educating my teammates at my high school about all the nerdy things discovered. So I'm working at a new school this year and super excited to be working at a school that's not only huge number of nerds on staff, but also a very diverse, inclusive staff, which is different from other schools where I've been. It's delightful, just wonderful. I'm very excited about the school. So yeah, join me for cosplay things and eventually educational things. Learn to learn from home.
Kim, Sanji's Closet. Everyone.
Yeah. The long rambling thing. Yeah, teachers don't know how to stop talking. That's why we're teachers.
Oz.
Hi everyone, I'm Oz. Once again, I am the Viking Cosplay on Instagram and Twitter. I am an artist and photographer entering the world of commissions. My commissions are open for illustrations, sketches, designs, character portraits, icons. I do FaceTime photo shoots. All of my portfolios can be found at theviking.myportfolio.com. I would love to draw your D&D character, your Shadowrun character, your Cyberpunk character, you, if you want a commission of yourself. It has been such an honor working with Goblins and Growlers for this charity stream. It has been constant fun. We've raised some amazing money for some amazing charities, and it's always just the highlight of my week. So thank you guys for tuning in and donating. If you're interested in my works, be it photography or illustration or design, check it out on my Instagram, my Twitter, or my website, theviking.myportfolio.com.
Before I talk about me, my most favorite subject. Before I talk about me, I mean that in like an experimental way, my most favorite subject. Before I talk about me, audience, you guys are awesome. Thank you we've been doing this Mörk Borg stream on and off for 4 months. We've raised over $4,000, I think. Well, I'll do the math. I have receipts from our nonprofit stuff. We've raised over like something around $4,000 for nonprofits through this. That's super not possible without you guys. we've told you from the get-go we're going to continue to do this thing so long as we're having fun and you guys are enjoying it, and we mean it. It means so much to be able to engage with you guys, and I hope that when we do have these little instructional things that you find some tidbit, some piece of gold to bring back to your group and make your tabletop playing experiences more enjoyable. So thank you guys. Thank you. And big thank you to Tim. Tim's our top donor.
Tim, you are fantastic. Gifting subs, giving big donations, interacting with the chat. Anyone who interacts in the chat, subscribes, follows anything, you are all wonderful.
Everyone is in different places during this period of time, both financially and just kind of where they're at. So we all are very aware of that. And just to be here, supporting us through your likes, your follows, your comments means the world. So I don't just want to call out the people who are in the place in life where they are comfortable being able to give donations, but I am so grateful that we also have that, because it's been a big part of the success that Mörk Borg has, and how it has grown beyond that and allowed us to do things like be guests at Queen City Anime Con's digital convention. So super grateful. I'm Alon. I'm part of Goblins and Growlers. You can follow us anywhere at Goblins and Growlers. I think this is our only thing not called Goblins and Growlers. It's called Growling Goblin Studios because we wanted more than just Goblins and Growlers stuff on it. But sometimes I think about the marketing of directing people to it, and I'm like, God, we really messed up. But besides the point, I am at the Dungeon Meowster on Instagram right now. I'm not posting too much stuff. I was posting a lot of things talking about local Richmond politics and political issues. I'm very actively involved in that. I've just kind of like cooled down some of my messaging for my own personal reasons, mental health reasons and things like that. But if you want to follow me there, I not only promote our stream and things like that, I also have pictures of Zarko, and every now and again I get a really nice picture that I post to pretend like I'm like artsy or something. I have a mustache, so I have a legal obligation to kind of maintain a minimum level of artsiness. But Goblins and Growlers is the place where you can find kind of all the cool projects that I'm running. Occasionally I'll run individual projects at the Dungeon Meowster, which is me. That's it. That's all the things. Catch us next week. We're going to have a ton of posts about it. The calendar's being finalized, but we are part of Queen City Anime Con. We're super excited.
We're not going to shut up about it.
We're super
on all of our
excited.
socials, just yelling about it all the time.
And
just screaming, so much screaming.
Nonstop.
And hopefully even more conventions in the future. Follow us at Disease Save, and thank you all for these are finger cannons for coming, joining us, doing the ridiculous improv skits with us, getting some nice elbow.
I love these improv skits. I'm taking these to my classroom.
Yeah, if you
when my students have to present, I'm gonna make them. They're high schoolers. They're gonna hate it at first.
Oh yeah.
But I think it is gonna let those kids that are too cool for school maybe step into some ridiculousness and loosen up, and
so good.
Hopefully we'll have a much more non-judgmental space in the classroom.
Yeah.
Excited to share this with my coworkers too, actually.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be great.
Talk to me off stream.
Yeah.
And
sorry.
No, I'm really happy about it. Yeah, thank you guys so much.
Thank you guys.
I don't think I have anything else.
No.
No.
I think that's a pretty good sign off.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Us.
We're just gonna talk for a brief moment on stream.
Yeah.
This is good. We have 15 minutes earlier than I was hoping. Let's keep it condensed. Yeah. I'm really glad. I'm hoping that we weren't the only ones who picked our nose with Kim. I hope that some people were at home picking their noses.
It's liberating to know that you can be an adult and pick your nose. Sometimes you just have to.
Right.
Is the stream stopped?
No. No. It was more fun for me to.
I especially find at conventions it's really bad, the need to do it, because you've inhaled so much powder makeup putting on the cosplay, and then like whatever color makeup, usually foundation colored, sometimes setting powder colored, but like with Rihanna, it was green.
Yeah.
After the shoot, like literally just picking all that eyeshadow and stuff out. And it's okay. Sometimes you just can't blow that out.
Right. Talking about early cosplay makeup mistakes. I was doing my early stages of my Tony Chopper cosplay.
Oh, the blue nose.
And I had the blue nose, and I had sealed it, but I had sealed it like this, and not like this. Yeah, not getting that low angle. So there was unsealed blue right all through here, and then I don't know if it was cold. My body reacts really weird to temperatures because of my weird physique. And probably some sort of like Northern European inbreeding.
I understand. My face has taken to just swelling up when I sweat.
Right. So I had blue runnel down. Like it went. This is no mustache at this time, which you are some of the few people who remember that. But it went and it like kind of like coated just the top like side of my lip like this, and had the rundown, and it just. Nobody told me. No one told me. They were just like, I mean, we've all been there, so we're not going to point this out. And I got back to my con room, and I was like, oh no, how long? How long?
Learning how to properly seal. Yeah.
Some of my favorite things are like when I'm working on foam props and not being smart enough to wear a mask, which I should. And then for like the next day, whenever I blow my nose and it's just black.
I mean, with the makeup sealing, and then I have a fun story about the things that come out of your nose too.
Wonderful.
But the Sanji, that was my first big cosplay at conventions, and YM Sanji's Closet. For the longest time, the only thing I cosplayed was Sanji. I have almost all of his pre-time skip cosplays made. My goal still remains to make every single Sanji cosplay. Unfortunately, Sanji has taken a backseat to a lot of other things, but the beard coming off, even pre-time skip Sanji's got like a little bit of stubble, and I like to, instead of drawing lines on for Sanji, I like to make it look like facial hair. But just the beard rubbing off throughout the day, before I really understood setting powders and the hairspray everywhere and all that. So that was always a thing. But with the nose and fun colors, I worked in a laundry room when I was in college for my bachelor's degree, in a dorm. In the summers, a lot of universities use their dorms as like hotels for conferences on campus. And we had just these plain white sheets that we put on the beds. And I was working in a newer dorm. So we got in like 1,000, 1,500, something like that, sets of plain white sheets, that we had to wash all of these sheet sets before we could even put them on the beds for the first time.
It's a lot of washing.
And all of the pure white lint that was in the air from washing, drying, and folding all of these sheets. Interesting point of fact, I can actually fold a fitted sheet so it looks like a flat sheet. Very good at that.
I can roll one up so it looks like a flat sheet rolled up.
I'll teach you sometime how to fold a fitted sheet. It's really nice. It's fun. But I was literally like sneezing up pure white for weeks.
Sounds like a nightmare. Sounds like that's definitely something out of like a Quentin Tarantino film. Just like
yeah, like you pick your nose and it's just like Snow White. It was
just all the animals come around because you got white.
I know that this is not what you guys came to stream for.
Right. It was inevitable right there. That was only a matter of time. All right, we'll start a series called Kim Knows. But yeah, I think that's a great ending point. This is good. Sign off for everybody. Thank you guys. Thank you
guys so much as always.
Love you guys. See you next week as part of Queen City Anime Con's digital programming. And now I have to remember how to stop this thing. Here it is. Bye.
Bye.